Good morning, everyone. Lots going on as usual. Today's Friday, August 29th, 2025. And oh man, I don't have the right screen up. Dope. Silly me. Oh well. Lima, abuse and how the system works. I came across a documentary that was published a few months ago, actually, and it gives a good description and breakdown of the Lima program and how it's being abused. And I think that that's really, really an important story in the context of the high unemployment, in the context of jobs for kids, because jobs for kids are at a high unemployment rate, and it's anomalous because it hasn't been like this for 30 years or something like that. And jobs for specific older people as well, specific age, specific skin color, and things like that. So I think that this Lima abuse plays into that. So we'll talk about that. We'll start there, actually. Quebec to ban prayers in public, and this is presumably to stop the takeover of streets and things like that by people who are praying. They'll say this is not allowed, but this will also stop any street praying for anybody else. And so is that the right move, or should it be more surgical than that? And I feel like probably more surgical, but that's just me. CDC is in an open rebellion about the COVID stuff and RFK Jr., and so I'll show you that. And I've got the resignation letter from that guy from the CDC yesterday that I talked about, who had his pronouns at the end, and people were upset at him. I'll show you that as well. Liberals tabled a bill in Nova Scotia to ban social media from access by kids under 16, and knowing Tim Houston, he's right on board with that. So my gosh. And I've got at the end of the show today a 2-minute conversation, or not a conversation, a 2-minute presentation by a guy talking about, it's taken from a longer one, but talking about why robots shouldn't look like humans. And at the beginning, I thought, where's this argument going to go? And at the end, he sold me, man. I was very, very convinced. So, man, there's lots to get to. Let's get to it. First, we've got to start with Lima and the job abuses that are happening across Canada. And how does it work? Why is this happening? Says Michelle. She says, why are these jobs only going to foreign temporary workers? Great question. I've got a good answer for you. But first, this is the Government of Canada's job board, and they want a restaurant manager for Lima, right? So they want to have somebody come in, and Tim Hortons is going to give them a job, and they're going to pay them and help them get all of their stuff in order, or whatever that is. And so it's for a third party, but it's for Tim Hortons, right? And why is that happening? And Mario says Tim Hortons can't find a single Canadian that can work for $36 an hour, so they need to import someone from another country to run a store they've never heard of. Lima is a scam. This program is a cancer on Canadians looking for employment, and a betrayal to all of us. Could you go to a store could you move from Canada, given the opportunity? Somebody says to you, listen, I would love you to come and run my store serving this breakfast thing that we do in India. Would you go? And if you went, would you feel like this is a great idea for me? Would you? I don't feel like I'd be able to do a good job in this role. You know what I mean? Like, I don't speak the language. So I think I'm not going to go. But that doesn't stop anybody doing it on the reverse. Why is that? Well, there's incentives and people who want to come here because it's a better life than there, and so on and so forth. I get that. But they're coming here, and we're not benefiting from this. The only people benefiting from this are the employers who are getting kickbacks. Here's the breakdown, and this is 9 months ago. This was posted by Epoch Edge, and why Canada will collapse in the next 10 years. I was watching this, and he goes through the Lima stuff, and I thought, man, wow, that's really interesting. So I'll show you. So check the rest of this video out if you're interested, but this is super interesting, and I thought this is why this continues. It's kickbacks to employers like Tim Hortons, McDonald's, other places that utilize these workers. Here we go.
The scheme is currently happening on a massive scale. Here's how it works. Immigration consultants approach businesses with an offer to source foreign workers willing to pay cash in exchange for hiring them. The foreign workers eager to gain expedited access to permanent residency through a job offer are happy to pay. The LMIA program requires these jobs to be posted on Canadian job boards before they can be offered to foreign workers. To meet this requirement, businesses post the positions on ghost job boards that technically comply but receive no actual web traffic. After 28 days, the business can legally hire the foreign worker, who then kicks back part or all of their pay to the business, along with a portion to the consultant for setting up the deal. LMIA jobs are often sold for $50,000 or more, and an entire industry has emerged with shell companies created for the sole purpose of selling as many LMIA jobs as possible. This scheme is most prevalent in sectors like fast food, restaurants, transportation, warehousing, and retail. Positions that previously would be filled by high school and college kids happy to work in entry-level positions. Importing foreign workers isn't needed to take orders at Tim Hortons or stock shelves at Walmart. So the claim that these workers are filling highly skilled labor gaps becomes extremely dubious. Combine this with the unemployment rate hitting a 7-year high of 6.6%, and the reasoning becomes even more questionable. 2023 alone saw 240,000 new LMIA jobs approved, more than double the number from just 5 years earlier. This figure doesn't even include open work permit holders or international students who don't need permits to work. In 2023, the number of international students with active study permits in Canada soared to 1.04 million, putting it on par with the US despite Canada having just 1/10 of the US's population.
Gosh. And so we're trying to go toe-to-toe while we flood our economy with foreign workers? We're trying to go toe-to-toe with an economy that's 10 times our size while we're flooding our economy with foreign workers? It seems insane. Why would anybody do this? It's a crazy strategy that's destined to fail, right? It is destroying our country. Why would they do this? Why would they continue when they're seeing so many red flags? And yet they continue. Here's Chris and just more jobs that are not going to that one group that we were talking about with that unfortunate age and unfortunate skin color. Chris says, Ontario Tech U just posted a job listing for a professor of advanced nuclear engineering. Here's the rub. The opportunity is only open to individuals who self-identify as women or as being from other gender equity seeking groups, transgender, gender fluid, non-binary, and two-spirit. I'm two-spirit attack helicopter. So obviously I fit into this one, guys, right? I'm trans attack helicopter. So no problem, right? I could apply, right? Do you tick this box? Yes, I do. Just ask me to ask to see me take off. My gosh. Canada Research Chair CRC in Advanced Nuclear Engineering, Tier 2. I feel like there's not going to be a lot of nuclear engineering going on. Pierre Polyev says, new CIBC report finds youth unemployment at levels not seen outside of a recession. Combined with out-of-control immigration, Mark Carney's high-tax, anti-growth liberal policies have left our youth without paychecks, housing, or hope in Canada. Restore the Canadian promise with low taxes and an immigration system that puts Canadians and Canadian youth first. City News Toronto is reporting a new report says the current youth unemployment rate is at levels typically seen only during recessions, even as other age groups face more resilient labor markets. So other people are able to find jobs, just not that one group. Here is this guy. The first minute is very, very on point, and then he kind of not meanders, but he's just setting some things up. It's almost a 4-minute long video. You should watch the whole video. It's super interesting. We're going to watch some of it. I might jump around because I think that when he ebbs after the first minute, if I go to 2 minutes and 30 seconds, he's making another point that I think I like. So we're gonna roll the dice there. Here we go.
If it had been my personal choice to be born in this
world. Oh man, it has been one day since the last incident. I thought I went through these since the last incident of Too Fast Talking. Here we go.
If it had been my personal choice to be born in this world, I would have regretted it. I find it a terribly unpleasant world to live in, the world of the Western civilization. Because in our Western nations, whether it's Canada, USA, Germany, or even Australia, it's very obvious that the native men, the white men, are not in charge of their own destiny, of their society's future. We have no say in it. How did this happen? Because if you read old books written before World War II, not only were our kind of men effectively in charge of their societies, we also were able to call out the threats, not merely perceived threats, but the real threats coming at us. Whereas today I'm in a position, I feel as though our enemies are not even at our gates. They are already inside the castle. They are already right here living among us. But if I were to call out their ethnicity or their background or describe what they look like, I would go to jail. I would be jailed for speaking the truth, for warning others of the enemy within, the enemy that we have already let inside our borders. I think that's completely insane. Because at the same time, while this is happening, while this mass replacement is happening, it's a fact, I am told that we need to go to war with all sorts of foreign enemies. Wait a minute. Foreign enemies are enemies, but the ones who are here are not our enemies. Okay. So we have to fight Iran or Russia or China or whoever, and send even our 17-year-olds and 18-year-olds to die in those wars. And then there's women asking, where have all the good men gone? Well, I'm thinking of the 1.7 million men who died in eastern Ukraine. That's where they've gone. I find this unbearable, really, and I want to do something about this insanity, but the political system does not offer me recourse. I can't vote my way out of this situation, and if I would enter politics, I would simply end up in jail for using the wrong phrases and words. In an unforeseen moment, I might blurt something out and boom, jail. Just like Shiloh Hendricks, who's now going to get sued on 3 counts of using the N-word. She might get up to 90 days in jail. This is no way of living. When there is no political solution, then what on earth do we do? Well, I think there is an economic solution. For example, if we would collectively refuse to work or refuse to pay rent and refuse to pay mortgages. Now that we are still the majority, we might pull that off and successfully force our ruling classes onto their knees. But that is only if we all work together, and that's not going to happen, is it?
I'll leave it there. And he says we're too fractured for that to work, or for that to effectively happen. And part of the reason that we're so fractured is because of the mass invasion that we're being forced to endure. Very interesting. Toronto Sun is reporting our asylum system is being abused and needs to change fast. Canada's system for helping refugees is overrun and in need of an overhaul. Will the Carney government act? No, the Carney government's job is to destroy our country, is to economically destroy it, is to tie us up in knots if we try and fix it. And that's basically it, right? And they'll do it by any means necessary. Lie, cheat, steal, whatever they need to do, they'll do it. Here's just partway through the article. Getting a handle on the asylum system must be a priority because right now it's being abused, used as a backdoor into Canada rather than a system to protect those fleeing war or persecution. As one example, in 2015, we had just 16,592 asylum claims compared to 55,000 in the first 6 months of 2025, and 190,000 people claiming asylum last year. Back in 2015, the backlog for cases being heard was just 9,999, not close to the 300,000 that is now. The 9,999 sounds like a placeholder number that is not real. It sounds like make it high, but not over 10,000, and somebody put in 9,999 for no particular reason. Right? 3s, 9s, and 6s. No reason at all. But 9,999 sounds made up to me, right? So even in 2015, I think we were not being told the truth. 2016, whatever, 2015. But now it's over 300,000. So last year, back to the article, we had 32,563 people claim asylum from India and almost 10,000 people in the first 6 months of this year. India is a fellow democracy with a growing economy. It has challenges, yes, but we should not be seeing a small city of asylum claims from India. The same holds true for Mexico, and NAFTA partner, a fellow democracy and a regular source of abuse for our asylum system. In 2010, the Harper government brought in massive changes to the asylum system, and Canada's visas policy, in part, was to deal with false claims being made by people coming into Canada from places like Mexico and Hungary. Those visa requirements for Mexican nationals effectively shut off the flow of thousands of people falsely claiming asylum from that country. In early 2016, though, the Trudeau government dropped that visa requirement, and the flow of people coming north to claim asylum in Canada grew steadily until we saw 25,000 and change arrive in 23. New visa requirements were introduced in February 24, yet we still saw more than 12,000 asylum claims last year from Mexico and 2,700 in the first 6 years of 2020 or 6 months of 2025. Where's the editor? Holy cow, there's 2 things I've got to edit on the fly here. The Sun, or the Toronto Sun. Our system meant to help real refugees is clearly being abused. Just look at the 254 Americans who have claimed asylum in Canada so far this year. So yeah, pretty wild stuff. We are being flooded with people who are fake refugees, not migrants. And he mentioned a small city from India shouldn't be claiming refugee status and coming to Canada. True. As far as I know, India is a very, it's a a very prominent up and coming democracy that is able to solve its own problems and things like that. There's no reason people fleeing India to Canada should come to Canada. As far as I understand it, I don't know. I don't understand the rationale behind it. Here is what's going on with people who have come to Canada from India. I think there's footage of an Indian guy. So he's shooting the water. I guess they're throwing beer bottles in the water, and they're shooting the water to break up the beer bottles. And then here's a woman.
You can see where they've been shooting. It's all kinds of sprays of different things broken and busted across this pond. The tree is riddled with bullets too. But what's sad, really sad, we try so hard to keep things nice for the skidoers, the four-wheelers, and families. Bullet holes. Sprays and sprays from the guns. Isn't that nice? Destroying our bridge. Why? Why? Unbelievable. Just unbelievable. No respect whatsoever. Hopefully, this can reach a lot of people and we can get this stopped. Everywhere you can think of. The garbage. Oh my goodness. And as you come over here, broken bottles down there.
And then
It's getting worse.
this is
Every corner
a crazy, like a weird setup shooting range, but it's not a shooting range. It's not set up for that.
is not a firing range. There's no proper backstop here. There's water all the way around and should not be used as a firing range. Police have been notified. I'm pretty sure the ministry is aware of all this, but how bad it is, I don't know if they know how bad it is, but it's getting worse. Every corner you come around.
So they're shooting up lakes, shooting up beer bottles in lakes, shooting up islands in the middle of lakes, using it as a shooting range where it should not be used as a shooting range, and shooting up bridges. And if you weren't watching, the caution on both sides of the bridge was all shot up with, like, there's red, yellow, and black kind of like not light up, but reflective signs, right? For helping people navigate a bridge in a snowstorm or something like that. All shot up, right? All shot up. So pretty wild stuff. Disclosed TV is reporting all parties except the AFD have pledged to speak only positively about immigration in the upcoming local election campaign in the West Germany city of Cologne. So what? What? Why would you promise to do that? How does that make any kind of sense? AFD will speak the truth regardless of positive or negative, I guess, and they'll be labeled racists and intolerants and said that they are not allowed to participate in the election or whatever. It's wild stuff. It's absolutely crazy what's going on. Peter Sweden says the British government is now saying the rights of asylum seekers are more important than the local population. This is their court case about a hotel in Epping, which has seen massive protests. So there's a situation in Epping, and I've been covering it with Adam Brooks, who's a pub owner, and he's talking about how this is destroying things, and the local council, the British government, is trying to override them, I guess. And here is Michael O'Keefe, and this is about Ireland, and he says Meath is a rural Irish county with a population of only 200,000 people. Look at what the council is pushing. So here's your Irish fatherhood celebration, Irish fathers. It says Meath County Council. Portraits of fathers in our community photo exhibition continues on its journey around the libraries of Meath. The exhibition will be on display upstairs in Oldcastle Library until Friday, the 29th of August. Please come show your support and leave a comment in our visitors book. So this guy's an African dude. Like, he's from Africa, right? Like, I don't think he's from Ireland. He doesn't look Irish at all. Where's the red hair? So it's one of those things where I look at that and I think, weird. It would be like China, a city in China, highlighting me and my family and saying, look at this Chinese man. And me standing there saying, yes, ni hao, right? Like, I could do that. Weird. Would that make me a Chinese man? Or if I was in India, look at this Indian man. Or like if I was anywhere in the world that's not where I grew up, right? Like, come on, it's weird. It's a weird thing. And it's gaslighting combined with, there's more libraries. There was another one with a different African family. And it is like Meath County Council, Irish, supposed to be Irish, but it's African families. Weird. Why are you highlighting not Irish families, Meath? The portraits of of fathers in our community photo exhibit. And maybe he's a father in the community, but it's weird. It's weird to shove that down people's throats, right? Like, this is your community now. Get used to it, right? Don't you love the new community? No, well, that's racist of you and intolerant. Well, our tax dollars are going to this wedge. It's a wedge being driven. Here is a little bit of money news. This is our grab bag of governance money edition. And Mark Nixon says, breaking, this is catastrophic. The only employer adding jobs is the Canadian government. Canada is about to implode. So chart 2, payroll employment in June decreases. So the public administration goes up, arts, entertainment, and recreation goes up, and that's government funded. And everything else goes down. Forestry, logging down. Manufacturing way down, retail trade way down, construction down, healthcare and social assistance down, professions, scientific and technical services down, education services down, finance and insurance all down. And so that's not surprising. Canada's investment, well, here's Pierre Poilievre, and he says, Canada just posted the worst account deficit in history, minus $21 billion from April to June. Exports crashed. Investors withdrew their money in levels not seen since 2007, and families are left poorer. Under Mark Carney, our economy bleeds jobs, growth, and hope. We need to make Canada a place cash comes in, not rushes out. Right, and I was talking about this yesterday. We haven't done any deals with anybody at all, while Trump has been making deals left and right. $billion deals with GE, $billion deals with microchip manufacturers, $billion deals with Apple, and more, right? Hundreds of billions of dollars coming in. And so Trump is making moves to make the United States economically resilient and not dependent on citizens' tax base, but instead dependent on people wanting access to the United States, and they do. They do. And at the end of the show today, we've got a guy breaking down. Basically, he says, listen, if you're worried about losing control of your government, that happened in 1913, buddy. And it's been a long time that that's been true, that you've lost control of your government. And what the question now remains, what are we going to do about it? But he phrases it so much better than I do. So wait for the end of the show. Wait for the end of the show. We're also going to have to say goodbye to the stream. And we'll have to say goodbye to the stream now. We'll do this one right now, but right after that, we're going to say goodbye to the stream. Toronto Star's reporting Quebec government to ban prayer in public places. This is problem reaction solution. They wanted to ban prayer, but would have had pushback because Montreal or Quebec is more, I think, religious than a lot of the rest of Canada. But then the Islamists were praying in front of very popular churches in Quebec, and so they're going to ban them from doing that in order to stop all of it, right? And so it's a roundabout way to ban Catholic prayer, I think, using, look at this problem, and we're going to ban it by